Peace and blessings, family. Welcome again to another edition of African Spiritual Conversations. I am joined by Queen Mothers and Yayas to discuss African spirituality. And I'm just excited to be on this. I'm always excited to be in the presence of such queens and powerful women. How y'all doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous.
Good, good.
Blessed.
So, before we get into our topic, I know here in Sacramento, our dear sister Christy Ketchum with Sacramento Sister Circle and Our Rightful Place is going to be hosting a Sage the City. I guess some sisters did this down in Mississippi, and now we're going to do it here in Sacramento. I told her just sign me up, tell me whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
I love seeing people who maybe not into traditional African spirituality pull out or draw from the sacredness of just spirituality, period. And I think that Sage the City, and this is going to be with Black women, I think that's very powerful because I do think we need to call on and rely on just even the very basic. I don't think things have to be so deep. I think very basic. If you call on the women to bring your sage, we could clear some of this air. I think that in itself is amazing. And so, what do you all think about that?
That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement, powerful movement. Of if everybody was doing something in the same vein, it also is because it's a cleansing, and if anybody can feel it, I know I feel it. The air is palatable. There's so much angst. I don't want to just say anger. It's like an angst in the air, and it kind of edges things on, and that's what fear does. So it's time to sage things, clean them up. So, and that's just one way. Okay, there's other ways to do things that may not necessarily have to have um, a connotation or seated totally in some type of spirituality. Water. I remember years ago we went, me and a whole group of women dressed in white, went down to the lake, led by my sister Ocean Rete Adesanya, went to the lake to march against drugs in the community. So we were dressed in white with our little candles in our hand, and this, we're talking about 25, 26 years ago. And we walked with other women in the community, other activists, but everybody had on white, and they made it over to the lake, and we prayed and did things like that to uplift the energy so that there be some type of attention on what was taking place in our community itself, and that was to get rid of some of the factors that was killing us. And so that's one of the things that we did. We went to the water.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a must, and I think it fits in for the Odulifa of the year. It's just coming to light over and over and over and over again. And as I said some weeks ago, it's nothing new. Women have been doing this for years. But this particular healing sounds like it's going to be really powerful and very much needed because there are forces or energies in the air from all of those folks who have transitioned over the past 2-3 months. And a lot of that energy is still lingering around. I think that is plaguing us as well. So anything that we can do to clear up this energy wherever we find it, because I find it here on the island as well. Whatever we can do is needed and appreciated. Um, and we can lend our energy to Christy. We don't have to exactly be there with her for our energy to surround her and the other women who will be there with her. And of course, water. Well, I'm living in the middle of the ocean, so me and water, we're very happy together. In fact, it's raining cats and dogs right now. I don't know if you can hear it.
Really?
Um, but water, I love. I love water. I love fire. I love the earth. I love air. Well, I love air to stay alive. So I love it all.
Right on, right on, right on.
Go
You
ahead.
know, but you also can direct that too. If you think about not just with us having access to just prayer and elbow, we have a way of being able to, where people are doing specific things, be conduits for that energy. Okay, we can tap into that.
Mhm.
Okay, and direct it. You know,
Mm.
yeah, because you can direct energy either way. You can, from one side of the pendulum to the other side of the pendulum. But if we're walking that middle ground, we can direct that energy to specific areas that need to be helped,
Clean. Yeah.
cleaned up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, because again, the energy that's out here, from those that have passed on, okay, is not necessarily bad energy. It's energy to wake people up. It's energy to move people out of that nostalgia and that the idea of I ain't gonna do nothing, you know,
Yeah.
attitude,
That
is
apathy.
moving people, the
Yeah.
apathy, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that energy has a purpose. It's caustic, yes. It's static, yes. But it's not directed. And
Mm.
that we're not taking the opportunity to direct that energy spiritually where we need to direct it.
Yeah.
Okay. Say if we're, just thinking about it, with that energy, we need to direct it into the political areas. Okay, the jurisprudence, because that energy needs to be, we don't need to feel it. And they need to feel it. What that
Mhm.
feels like. Okay, when a child is calling for their mother with their dying breath, they need to feel it. They need
Mhm.
to understand what that's like.
Yeah.
Okay, they need to have those dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can direct that energy in a way that is going to be beneficial. Because how are you going to dismantle this whole idea of white supremacy if you don't direct it at white supremacy?
Mhm.
Okay. So we got to find ways to take that energy and move it in the way we need to move it. The cleansing energy, we need to clean ourselves too in that same process. So that just as we're cleaning the city, we need to clean ourselves so that we have clear ideas, clarity in our purpose and what it is that we're doing. Once
Mhm.
we start doing that, then it's going to be a different type of way of seeing. It'll start just like a domino effect. An idea will come and it'll come and it'll come from people to people to people. And so we want, and you'll be surprised at how that works because we're working out of elbow right now anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, Belar is about that elbow was done. So everything else is an offshoot of what's taking place out here in the world.
Right.
Okay. Because they did the elbow did. That's what was addressed. Women are
Mhm.
doing it, moving and taking their place. Yes, we've been doing it. But what's different about what we've been doing And what we're doing now is then they weren't paying attention. We were always like the dark side of the moon, doing the work and nobody knew how the work got done. They was just happy it was done. Okay. But here we are now. The leadership role that comes from that. Okay. We're in the shift of it has now, it's a respect area. Okay. It's a whole different line of who's your leader in this. And this is where because responsible leadership, let me put it like that. Responsible leadership is now at the helm where we're able to say, this is what's going to take place. This is what we're doing. And this is how it's getting done. And nobody can stop us.
Yeah.
Because that's the other point. Can't nobody stop this. It's like trying to stop God. You can't stop God, so how you going to stop a woman? Okay.
Yep.
So, one cry.
I'm excited to get it in, like some rituals with the women in the city, just moving, walking through, and with a clear intention set on cleaning up the energy. Because what happens is, in areas where a lot of violence takes place and our blood is spilled in the streets, the energy is heavy. It's dense, and you can feel it walking through those areas. And most of that is where we live. That happens in the areas where we live. So
Right.
we're walking through that energy. We're getting things on us, taking them in the house and arguing with our families. We're having depression and all these other things happen that we say it's just a part of being poor or being black and all the stuff. But there's a science to it. It's
Mm-hmm.
happening for a reason. Like, there's a reason why they're not shooting in ESAC. They shooting over here by my house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when we do that, like, and I would love to add the element of water, just even to do a Omi Tutu before
Mm-hmm.
we get started, walking. That'd be awesome. Yeah, tell Christy I'm in. I'm in. I'm there, man.
Yeah, that's a powerful thing because with the water and doing a libation, but
Mm,
in intensive libation is incantation, invocation.
mm,
So it's not enough like when we do that intensive. So we're invoking the water to bring peace, but yet to remove confusion.
yes.
Okay. So it's not just about I want everybody to be peaceful. Can we just get
Yeah.
along? No, it ain't about just can we get
No.
along. Now it's
Yeah.
about our intention is to remove the confusion. Because I want you to understand why
Yeah.
I'm pissed. Okay.
Mhm.
And I want you to understand your own level of apathy. Okay.
Mhm.
Your own level of privilege that you
Mhm.
can't see through. And the fear that you have now that you are seeing that I'm pissed off. Okay.
Yeah.
So we want that water to bring about removal of the confusion, bring about clarity, but also in an invocation, we're asking that the spirits of our elders of heaven bring down this energy to
Mhm.
empower us. Okay.
Mhm.
To move this energy in a way that it's going to help lift these bodies up off the ground that have been killed and their blood is still in the ground that have not been lifted up
Yeah.
so that they can start to move in a way that they now can help. Okay. Rather than still in the darkness of their death. Because
Yeah.
what you feel, that density is the darkness of their death. They
Mm.
have not moved from the places that they are. Who has done the work to move those children's bodies up from that ground? To move that energy so that it can be utilized by them having their spiritual platform
Yeah.
where they are now. okay, so that they can be of assistance to their own families in finding peace in the family.
Yeah.
We don't want that energy to bring confusion in our homes where we're arguing and we're hurting each other. We want that energy to bring specific change, a change of mind from the people that are causing the problem in the first place.
Hmm.
That's what we need to do. So we want it as an invocation and incantation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That incantation, and I'll send you the prayer. So
Okay. Thank.
y'all have it. Okay.
Thank.
Matter of fact, I think if I sent you the temple book, you already got
I
it.
have it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that water incantation in there,
Uh
that's
huh.
what I'm talking about. You
Okay.
do
All
that,
right.
the Olawaruna TIA, Rhino, the Ray Watio,
Yeah.
that one. That
Okay.
that one, I love that prayer, but I'm gonna give you a hint. Trace Edgeobe on the
The
water.
water. Okay.
Uh-huh. And then
Okay.
breathe on it. Okay.
Uh
Because
huh.
remember your connection from Oludumare and you through Edgeobe opens up the path, baby. That's it. We calling on somebody. Okay.
Ashe.
That's
Ashe.
how we
Thank
do that.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah.
It's gonna be on and cracking. Okay.
Yeah. That's what
Right
we're
up.
trying to get. We're trying to get it on the cracking.
You
That's what
okay?
we
Crack a
doing.
lack. Crack a
That's what we doing.
lack. Okay.
Somebody got a
Yeah.
message for you, yeah.
Uh-huh. If somebody wants
So,
a temple book and stuff, they can get one from me. They just have to send in my inbox, just send me their email and I'll send it to them.
right on, right on.
All right.
So, with that being said, seeing those things around the country, people standing up where they are with what they have, I wanted us to dive a little bit today into spirituality. Um, huh, Spirituality from both sides. So, for instance, if you see a bunch of warriors going to a fight, what does we see? We think we know what it means in the physical, but not really understanding what it could probably mean in the spiritual sense of the word. How do we use our words, to be supportive, to uplift, to enhance, to elevate? I was sharing with someone yesterday that in the conversation that I watch a lot of stuff like the Game of Thrones because it's something about it teaches me a lot about people's culture. But what I always would notice is when they would go into battle, and you would see the warriors with great instruments, whatever. They always have spiritual people doing other work for them before they went into battle, or
Mm,
even when they were in battle. And
mm,
sometimes we kind of gloss over that, like the wizard, and we're like, "Oh, this person's doing magic," but not really, because no one ever
Mhm.
really explains that part of it. We just think of warfare as like people going into battle with guns and steel and whatever. But we don't even know that even our so-called great enemies still rely on that other system that we don't know to help
Yeah.
them win battles. And
Yeah.
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 Evolution.
Absolutely.
I would jump out there to say,
Absolutely.
I think even the people who took America,
Haiti, Haiti is the perfect example of that.
yeah,
With when they went to the fields in 1790, and Bookman and Cecile Fatima, and they brought Ogun down, and they sacrificed the pig to Ogun. That's what. Well, even before that, you had Mackendal, but that's what
Mhm.
got the Haitian Revolution. Really, it was the spark. It was the catalyst. It was that which really got it going. And then if you look at the different generals during the Haitian Revolution, you can see Eshu, you can see Ogun, you see it in the leaders of the revolution. And there were some bad women in the Haitian
Mhm.
Revolution.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were generals. They were generals, and they fought, as well as the children. So we have examples. We have examples even in South Africa, and
Yeah,
how
more than that.
those battles were won. And it was certainly a lot of spiritual work done by the Sangomas in South Africa.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
But you
we have a
also have more.
playbook.
You
Oh
have more.
yeah, yeah.
Because we have to remember in West Africa, in Benin, we had the Amazon women,
Oh
who was
God,
the most feared soldiers.
yes.
They cut their breast off in order to fit their the breastplate
Plates.
in
Oh,
war.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that was the most feared and fierce warriors. But here it is, we don't understand that other deities were a part of that as in their human form.
Mm.
Oba was the greatest of warriors, of female warriors, because she taught warfare, martial arts to all of the Orisha. Okay,
Mm.
as well as she was also the major leadership to the throne. She was heir to the throne. Oh yeah, she taught. Oh yeah. Okay. She taught everyone how to do warfare. Another thing that we have to remember is in our traditions, in our culture, in African culture, the priest manned the line. The priest, just like you got drums, the priest manned the lines before as they were going into war. They weren't holding
Yeah.
off in the back, they were in the front line, moving forward and moving with incantations and work being done as they move forward. So
Mhm.
that is an integral part of our strategy for warfare, is that you have to have your spiritual component to make the movement of the war go further and for it to ensure victory.
That's right.
Okay, because that's what we're trying to. You're doing warfare for what? To ensure victory, so you get what you want out the deal. What you want out the deal: the land. You
Mhm.
want the resources. Okay. Well, here we want our life. That's what we're in. This warfare that we're in is about our life.
Yeah.
So we're not just doing warfare. It has a purpose. It has a meaning behind it. That we are in not just in protective, it's not just defensive. We gotta be offensive. Okay. We have to know, you have to be able to play all positions in order to do this. Here we talk about it. What did Denzel say? He said, I don't play what? I don't play checkers, I play chess. We gotta
That's
learn how to
yeah.
play chess. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's where we're at. So
An-
as women warriors, we're paying chess.
Another
Okay.
place that we have to look at where they used a spiritual component is Cuba
Mm.
in the
Oh,
19, and they took over in 1950. They used
New Year's
their
Eve.
Orisha during the Cuban Revolution.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
New
it's
Year's Eve. While everybody was partying, they was getting it in. New
Yeah.
Year's Eve.
Absolutely.
yeah,
It's
because
over.
they came over on that leaky bucket. You know good and well the water spirits were guiding and protecting them coming from Argentina on that leaky bucket that they came into Cuba on. Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so with that being said, now we have this black militia group or organization who showed up on the 4th of July. I think there's so many things to look at with this particular group. Being that we're on the biggest day of fireworks, I'm telling you, where we were for like 4 hours, it felt like we was in a war zone. Pop, 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 pop,
Right.
pop, pop. Sky was lit up like the same time. I'm so
Got
serious.
used
Some
to
of these fireworks had to be pretty illegal. So here we
I
are on
wish
that
I
particular
wish
day.
you could have seen it.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
pretty amazing
it was
though.
kind of amazing. Yeah.
It was pretty amazing though.
And here we are doing some work on Zoom. And and then this happens, and not saying it didn't happen before, because we only know about it because I know about it because of social media. It don't mean that Black folks
Right.
haven't always been doing some form of protecting themselves with the steel, but I feel like sometimes I think we got to discuss what that looks like in terms of what we can glean from that. When we see something like that, what do we need to do to make sure that they're successful? Because when they're successful, it means that I'm going to be successful. When they're protected, just to give you like how things roll. Somebody sent me a video this morning. I don't know if I shared with you, Aoife Modukwe, but I guess a white supremacist had to try to fight a Black woman, and a Black man came out of nowhere and beat this man's ass. Like,
Oh yeah,
it was
I saw
so
that.
beautiful.
I
It
saw
was so
that. He
beautiful.
played
I
it
was
back.
just like, I watched it like 5 times.
Look, somebody
wow. The sister was
somebody
like,
said
every
in the
time
comments, it looks like he's
nowhere.
tenderizing a turkey.
Huh?
Somebody said in the comments, it looked like he tenderizing a turkey.
He
I said,
tenderized it
I feel
already.
like I needed that. I feel like I needed to see that this morning.
So I'm just saying, it's something about that energy. Like, here these brothers are, showing up to protect, like, not another Black life. No,
Yeah.
you don't get to make threats if we don't come to your damn door. To me, that felt like old school Black people that I grew up with, where they would go to your door and be like,
Yeah.
let me go to your door so you can understand you're talking to me. You know what I mean? And then it was like seeing that image. And I just feel like, to talk about what does it mean when you see people, or seeing those young people in Lake Charles stand up to get a statue removed. And being in the South is a little different. It's not like being up north or out west or wherever. There's a system in place there. There's the Confederacy is real there. And to see these young Black people, along with some older people, like, because what I loved about Javon is that she's like, we need everybody. They may not be the ones in the street, but we definitely need their prayers. Because what I did hear, because I grew up around elders who told me that when they were young and out there doing whatever, the older people's like, I may not be able to stand out there with you, but I'm gonna pray some prayers. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes we forget that is also a part of ensuring victory, as you said earlier.
Right.
What does that mean? And I don't mean praying like, but no, pray that you tear they got their heads off.
Well, praying truth.
You know how
You're
people
talking
do
about
it.
praying in truth. Okay?
Okay.
Because, long gone are those socio-religious nice prayers.
Right on.
Okay? That's why I talk a lot about incantation and invocation.
Yeah.
When you are doing an incantation or invocation, you are talking about an action word. What I say is going to turn into an action. So we also have to instruct people on how to pray. Don't pray for me if you're going to pray a mealy mouth prayer. Okay? Don't pray for me like that. Pray for me with conviction. Pray for me like how you want somebody to pray for you. Okay?
Yeah.
So we got to do that kind of prayer. So I think it's our responsibility to teach them how. Okay? How many people actually think about how to write an oriki? Okay? About the warrior in your family. Okay? See, my grandmama was the grandmother that had a 38 sitting by her bed.
Yeah.
And when somebody was coming up and trying to rob us, she'd throw that door open and shoot. Okay? That was my grandma. So I grew up with women like that. Okay? They didn't play like that. I learned how to shoot as a kid. My grandfather taught me how to shoot a double barrel. Okay? Because we went hunting. So that's what I'm saying. That's the stuff that you come from. That's where I come from. Okay. And so with that, that's the stuff I teach. Okay. So when it comes to prayer, when it comes to understanding the core of that, I'm not going to pray, oh, please help us lift up above all. No, I'm saying I need your help.
Right on.
They kicking my ass down here and I need you to cover it. Okay. So we can't get this.
Yeah.
We got to get this. Defeat my enemies. Okay?
Mhm.
Take
Mhm.
them. I don't want to see my enemy anywhere. Take
Right.
him. Take her. If you got to put a name to a Karen, Ken, whatever, but take them.
I know.
Okay? So that's the prayer that you pray.
Yes.
Okay? Because I don't want that sucker coming in. I don't want to see somebody else up in Washington get hurt because
Yeah.
somebody took it in their sick mind to turn their car on our people
Right.
because they were practicing what they have a legal right to do, and that's the protest.
Mhm.
Okay? That so we have to pray and do offerings for situations like that.
Yep.
Stop that one. Okay?
Yep.
I'm asking old Goon. I'm asking old Yah. I'm asking old Shun, drown them.
Yeah.
Wherever they are, drown them. A
Yeah.
local come up and move them off of the shores.
Uh-huh.
If that person has in the inkling in their mind that they are going to bring harm to me or my children, and see, I have big arms. I got a lot of babies that are my biological and my spiritual.
Those children. Yep.
Okay, and it grows because, like, I'm a great grandmother, so like it grows. The spiritual children grow. So I'm not asking them to do, oh, please help this person change their mind. They ain't
Mm.
trying to change their mind. So give him something to change his mind for. Move his ass out the way.
Yep.
That's how you do it. That's a
Mm.
prayer. That's a prayer I like anyway.
It's that power, though. I think sometimes we don't even understand the power of it. I think we talk about it. I often look at when a boxer goes into battle, he doesn't go into a battle like, let this be a nice, clean fight. He going there like a beast. Even his music feel like, when he's walking to the ring. You know what I
Right.
mean? He's not walking there like all tiptoeing like, oh. He'd be like, kill, destroy, stress. Right? Like whatever that is. I think sometimes we just forget about that spiritual part of when you're at war. What does that look like? You said something key here. You said that we must teach people how to pray. How to
Yeah.
do it. It's a time and
Yeah.
place for all kind of prayers, but we don't really think about it like that.
Mhm.
Some think about it like that.
No, we've come mm. So there's some things that a lot of Black people have to get over, and this is in the tradition and out of Isheshe.
Yep.
It's like there's some things we got to get over. One is like have been socialized to believe that it's not a good thing to pray for money. If you need money, you need to pray for it. Where
You
do you
got
think it's
that
coming from?
right.
Right. And I mean, we simultaneously, and see, we do a lot of things that contradict one another. So we neutralize ourselves, right? Well, on the
Yep.
one hand, we'll be like, oh, my source is the Ola Damari is my source. The Orishas are my source. We get, that's a transitional conversation from Christianity where God is my source and all of this, right? That's a blanket thing that we say a lot. And then simultaneously won't pray for money, won't do rituals for money, won't do Ebo for money, won't feel some kind of way
Right.
about it, as if we're undeserving of
For
having
money.
real wealth, of
Mhm.
having money, of having our needs being provided for. We feel undeserving of that. And this is particularly also women feel that way in
Hmm.
relationships. We feel that way in our divine and physical relationships. So that's
Yep.
something that we got to get over, right? we
Mhm.
have to get
Absolutely.
over we have to get over this idea of turning the other cheek and loving your enemy. We got to get over that, because we have to. Black Lives Matter is also about us seeing the value of our own lives and being willing to defend that,
Mhm.
willing to stand up in that and say, hey, you ain't finna, I'm not no
Hmm.
victim, man. You ain't good. No, I'm not a customer.
Mm-mm.
No, you're not gonna do me like that.
Right.
So we
Right.
have to be willing to say that in any setting that to individually and collectively, there's I see my value because I carry a divine spark. You're not gonna just tread on that. That's not gonna happen. So the when we get over those two things, we'll be straight
Absolutely.
because it will be our first impulse and inclination to say to defend ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing. Okay, so I'm looking at the 4th of July, right? In the morning, everybody's getting text messages and emails. The NAACP is saying white supremacy groups is coming after black people. They want black men, but they'll take black anybody. You know what I
Mm-hmm. Yep.
mean? And so our bodies have absorbed that kind of violence. Our families have absorbed that kind of violence for forever since we've been on this soil. So the thing is, like, everybody reacted in a way consistent with their beliefs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I woke up in the morning, I've been saying for a couple of days, I think I need to feed Ogun. And every time I would say it, I would hear a train go by. I would hear a train whistle. I would hear something. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and so that morning when I woke up, the first thing I heard was the train, and I was like, well, it's the holiday. I can't really find no birds. I'm gonna wait till Monday. It was going on and on. And then a whole bunch of things transpired, but we ended up in front of Ogun that night. So that's what had to
Mm-hmm.
happen for us, right? Okay.
Okay.
The brothers in Stone Mountain saw the message and they was like, we are not effing around. Yes, let's get the guns, get the bulletproof vests, and they and on the video they are having a conversation about this. What you ain't gonna do, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And I mean, it happens. There are different areas that happen. Some happen in Louisiana, so and different things happen around in the Bay Area and all types of stuff. So we to look at now how there's a shift happening, like in response to our prayers, in response to our intention, in response to the work that we've done and are doing, there is a shift happening. We were just talking about how many black women have been killed at the hands of black men. Now we can talk about how many black men are showing up saying, you ain't finna touch black people, women, children, men, nobody. And women showing up to defend each other. We talked about that. We are having these conversations, but we have to acknowledge that we're seeing a shift happening. We talked about the divisive energy that's in the black community. We're seeing a kind of a unifying kind of harmonizing energy coming up out the ground, and it's impacting all of us, and we kind of are coming together on the fact that we value our lives, right? So we're
Mm-hmm.
starting to understand that there's value here and that we can unify around these values,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody can do their part. And so this is very powerful. It's exciting to me. You know what I mean?
Is
To
it?
see
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
conversations, yeah, that people are having with each other, but also the
Mm-hmm.
conversations that I get to be a part of. Like, just the tone of the conversation is changing. We are not talking about woe is me and oh, look what they've done to us. We can't, you don't see that many more posts about we can't jog, we can't bird watch, we can't go to the store. We're not seeing that no more. We seeing,
Mm-mm.
guess
It's
what?
changed.
Yeah,
That
here's what you're
shift is
not gonna
taking
do.
place. Yeah,
Exactly. So
and it
I
should.
absolutely.
It,
I say. I say. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
yeah,
Wow.
I am too.
Say, hey, send that across the ocean.
You know what happens, right? So it happens here and it activates people all over the world. I
Mhm.
I mean, I want us to really recognize who we are. Like, the fact that we were able to transition out of the slavery experience is a beacon for a lot of oppressed people,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so what we do with that as the transition continues.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's the transition because we still working out our freedom. We ain't got it 100% right.
We ain't got it.
You
As
know what
far
I'm
as
saying? We still working it out. It's
right.
on paper, but it ain't in practice. So we working it out, and it's not happening quickly. It's happening at the pace that it's happening. But one day
Mhm.
it's gonna be done. And so knowing that, like we just keep doing the work. We stay in it. We stay in the trenches. Now, this is what happened, and this is what's happening. We're in a race war. We're in a physical war. It ain't even I don't even want to call it a race war because a race is a construct. It's way
Mhm.
deeper than that.
But it is also a spiritual war and a war of
Yes.
change. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So by being a spiritual war and a war of change, things that are being said in that war is also Ofashe, our words have power.
I say.
So they're falling down and making action into the people that we speak. So that
Mm-hmm.
Ofashe is pushing and moving people in ways that have not been seen in a long time. Here you have something that is reverberating like the ocean waves across the
Mm-hmm.
world. It's not just the United States. This is happening in the world where
Yeah.
everyone of color is standing up and saying, hold up, you're not doing this no more. It's
Right.
not just here, it's
Yes.
everywhere.
Fair.
Okay? And we are not a minority.
Mm-mm.
We are a
Definitely.
vast majority of
Majority.
over
Yeah.
400 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because when we start, we are moving out of that mentality of what do you mean I'm a minority in the United States? No, I'm not a minority. I am a majority of people of color across the world. You're the minority.
Yeah.
It's understanding and this is what Eisenhower said in the early 50s was going to happen. He
Mm-hmm.
he had said that in time,
Said,
what would
yeah.
happen is the shift was going to turn, and this is what's taking place in our government. This is what
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at. That spiritual shift now is taking place, and it's a reality. And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh my God, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
My
Mm-hmm.
resources, my house, my everything, my business, well, baby, it's going back to the sender.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we're dealing with.
Because
Okay.
we
That
don't even have the thing. Like I think about this a lot when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I used to be praying for stuff a lot, right? And I would look at what I had, and it would be time to purge the closet or whatever, and I would say, I want to keep this because I like it and I wear it a lot now, but this ain't actually the thing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You
yeah.
might have some jeans that kind of work, but these ain't the jeans that I want. The jeans I want, I don't have the money for it right now, or whatever the case may be, whatever was going on.
Hmm.
And so I'm thinking to myself, like, now we have stuff, but this ain't the stuff. We
Hmm.
might have a decent house, but we don't own it. You know what I
No.
mean? We might have a decent car, but we don't own it.
The
Own it.
bank owns
Like
it.
the bank
The
owns
bank
it, and
owns
we're
it.
paying mostly interest for the stuff that we have. This ain't the stuff, man. We need
Hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
we can
But
let this stuff go and get the stuff. And it doesn't mean that we have to do that, but I'm just saying, like, in consciousness, recognize what we're holding on to that ain't the thing.
right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that we also, it goes back to your conversation on money. Okay. Our tradition and our culture is predicated on the deity that rules the wealth
Mm-hmm.
is the only deity that they have a name for a day in the week.
Yeah,
Aj.
Ajay.
Okay. Aj fights for you. Okay. It's not that she just gives you wealth. Olokun gives you comfortability. Aj gives you wealth, but she also heals bodies.
Yes.
She also fights wars.
Mm-hmm.
O'Shea Ogbe, uh, Arbeli Bouliban did a movie called Echo Leco about Orisha J and her story. And you can get that on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, you can see it on YouTube. And it's about the warfare that she did
Hmm.
and proved, and cleaned out 3 nations that came after her and her husband. Okay. She pretty much said, dude, hold up, stay right here. You ain't got nothing to be scared of. And she took her her war implements from the to the sky and opened the sky up with lightning and called on winds, and a local my mother came and washed everybody out. That's the power of our
Yeah.
jab.
Yes.
Okay. So what she also teaches is fiscal responsibility.
Hmm.
Okay. What kind of steward are you of the money that you're going to have? Okay. But it's money you're going to have. Say, I have no problem. I have no problem whatsoever saying to my IJ about, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. I want this. Okay. But I also know that I'm going to purge my closet. I'm going to take the things that I'm holding on to and I'm going to give them to some people who need them.
Right.
Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
going to fiscally be responsible. Okay. By budgeting and putting my resources in places so that it will grow. That
Mm-hmm.
I ask IJ to teach me each and every day how to be a better manager of her money
Mm-hmm.
so that I can teach that to my children, to my grandchildren, to my people that are of my temple. Okay? That we have a responsibility to be fiscally responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because if you're going to have wealth, you got to know what to do
To
with
do
it.
with it. Yep. And how
Okay,
to manage it.
because and how to manage it, because
Mm.
anybody that see the person that's in Washington, he don't know how to manage no money.
No.
He done went through how many
That.
bankruptcies has he been through?
Yes.
He done ruined companies left and right. So I ain't
Right.
trying to follow him.
No.
Okay, now who I would follow is that black woman named Oprah. She
Yep.
knows how to do something with some money now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now I might not follow her everywhere, but I'm gonna follow her with how she's managing money, how she's
Right.
building resources, how she's
Mm-hmm.
taking those resources and partnering with others that can help those resources grow.
Mm-hmm.
What here again, as in this tradition, and we're in the midst of a war. How are you gonna manage a war and you ain't got no money?
Right.
You can't
Mhm.
stay off your job. You are one paycheck away from the
Right.
street.
Yeah.
So how you
And
gonna do
becoming
that?
part of the leverage. Like
Yeah. Okay.
when the fight broke out, uh
Yeah. So how we
I
do
was
that?
yeah, I was talking to my dad about all the stuff, going on, all the stuff that I see, the conversations that we having and all the stuff. And he said, yeah, that's nice. He said, but don't remember, I don't care how smart you think you are, don't work for free. Before he said you could be the person helping and then turn into the person who needs help. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Right. Right. That's so right. That's so right.
You know what I mean? Like, keep your affairs in order. Like, it's a thing that we need to be very conscious of what our needs are. It happens. Um, it's it happens it's a subtle thing that happens with us. Like, we have
Hmm.
ideas about how nonprofits operate in lack, right? So if you have a
Yeah.
nonprofit that doesn't operate in lack, and you are trying to partner with other nonprofits, like, there has to be some parity. You either have
Right.
to take the time to explain to them that what needs to occur, or you have to choose other partners. This is the thing that
Hmm.
you know, even as an artist, like there's this idea of the starving artist. And I was like, I'm not, do I look like I'm starving? Like, I'm not trying to
Mhm.
starve.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
You know what I mean? And
Okay.
so it's like, it's a subtle shift that has to occur, like within our consciousness, that if you are the person who's providing support, that you're not that that we're made in a particular way to be able to take care of ourselves, right? So
Right. Right.
if you find someone in a position where they require support and you're providing support, that doesn't mean that both of y'all need to lay on the ground.
Right.
It's
Here's the
more like,
thing. Then I'm gonna throw something else at you too, real quick. Um, the spiritual um idea of charity, okay, also is part of your wealth structure.
mm-hmm,
Okay. So what you are able, in other words, if you're able to give, okay, you're also going to receive. That's, I mean, that it just works like
yeah,
that.
that's how it
Okay.
works. Yeah.
It really does work
And
like that. Go on.
okay, so what we were talking about before we got on the call was water, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that water flows, right? So there's water in the earth, there's water in our bodies. When we do ritual, we use water. There's all these ways that water flows, and that there's wealth in that also, because
Mm-hmm.
understanding that you cannot live without water and you cannot live without wealth. So you have
Absolutely.
to keep things in circulation. So often you may run up on somebody who's in a particular position in order to help you keep your wealth in circulation, to help it keep it flowing, because a closed hand is just a closed hand. Now, whether that's wrapped around money or not, it's still
Mm-hmm.
closed. You can't receive nothing if your hands are closed. So it's the
Absolutely.
idea of circulation, how and it's, you can feel the energy in your body getting wedged
Mm-hmm.
up in places, and watch where you have um, and this is the reason why forgiveness work is important, because it's not a function of you taking your enemy to heart. It's a function of you clearing that energy out of
Energy
your
out.
circulation, so that everything is moving
Mm-hmm.
in the way that it needs to move, and you can keep energy flowing to you and out of you, and be in,
Mm-hmm.
if effective, because it's the blockage of that energy that causes impotence. And I'm not talking about just sexual impotence. I'm talking about,
But impotence
yeah,
and
it
everything else with
causes,
it
Impotence
yeah,
too.
of the
it
mind.
it
Mine, yeah.
makes
Impotence
your
of the mind.
rituals ineffective. It makes your efforts ineffective. And it's just like you just throwing stuff out, just throwing stuff out, just throwing stuff out, and nothing's happening. So at a time like this, when we can't afford those things, like I feel like a lot of this work is being done by people's ancestors, is supporting them greatly. But it's also a
Yes.
conversation worth having, because um, we have a way of looking at things that always has us at the bottom. That's intentional by other people who like to see us at the bottom. They've
Mm-hmm.
imposed these ideas on us, and a lot of them are so subtle that we've accepted them, and we just
Mm-hmm.
operate from them without examining. So I encourage people to really examine everything that you think, all the
Mm-hmm.
other things that you've taken for granted, like even whether or not you're in African spirituality, like you need to be examining what it is you
Mm-hmm.
believe, examine why you do things, and don't just do stuff.
Right.
Like,
Right.
be
Yeah.
clear and
Examine
intentional
your
Mm-hmm.
about,
BS.
and
Examine your
check in.
BS. Your
Yeah, check
belief
in your
system.
belief system, and check in with yourself.
Right.
How is your body? We talked about chakras for almost a whole week. How is your energy flowing? Is it backed up
Right.
somewhere? You getting stomach aches, or you got indigestion? Yeah,
Backaches.
do you need an enema? Like, do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you got to get off get off of it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's not a time for petty grudges. Just holding on to that much energy is going to get in the way. If there's a conversation you need to have with somebody to clear some stuff up, clear it up, because
Right.
you don't want to get caught up in pettiness when something major is happening right now, and we need you to be a part of it. Like,
When you don't get that energy moving and the circulation of water, then again, this is stuff that goes into the debris.
Mm-hmm.
packets of water. So this is the trash that's going into the water. When you're stuck, this is still the trash because it's not going to move anywhere.
Yes.
So you have to change how this flow goes. Okay. And you're right. Forgiveness is, we hear the statement about forgiveness is not for the person, is for you. Okay. That really is true. It
Mm-hmm.
is about that, but it's also other components to it. It's just not to forgive. You got to eradicate it. So you have to acknowledge it, first of all.
I
Then,
say.
after acknowledging it, then you have to embrace the situation on both sides. Examine it, look at it, and see, what did I do? How did I contribute to this? How did they contribute to this?
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to look at releasing it and letting it go, and then you can forgive.
Yes.
Okay. So it is a formula that you have because you don't want it to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you see that in doing this, you'll find your increase. You will
Yes.
start to see your increase not only in your energy, in things that of good come to you. That's
I say.
because you have released that. And so there's nothing that's blocking your good coming to you.
I say.
Okay. So when we start to do that, there's a process for this. And if we practice that process, then we'll start to see that we can attach ourselves to our wealth,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get an opportunity. Then we start to even see how we move these different ideas out that are no longer useful.
Yes.
Okay. I've told y'all before, I am not a poor woman. I ain't broke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
I ain't gonna be broke. Okay. Ain't nothing broken about me. Okay.
Yeah. I say.
If I don't have a particular resource, I guarantee you I'm gonna find it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna find it. It's gonna come to me. Why? Because this is what I know. This is my relationship to my deities. And you have to do that. Avarice, jealousy, all these other things, doubt, okay, fear. All these things are things that clog up your ability to draw your good to you.
I say.
Here's one that most women want to hear. You want a man? Get rid of that crap inside of
Mm.
you. You want these other things? Get rid of the crap inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start to see how things flow just a little bit better. Not really a little bit, a lot.
A lot.
Okay? A
Mhm.
lot. Okay? So you have to look at what are the things that are blocking us and allow the fluidity of our Risha mothers, the fluidity of our Risha fathers to help us to move these things out of our way, move our minds so that we are no longer in trouble. And that's the thing that we want to look at. How to do that. So, it's really about, again, changing your mind. And this is spiritual warfare. This is how spiritual warfare works on so many different levels. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I need to know what's going to help us grow. Okay? Financially, I don't want the bank to own a daggone thing of mine. Okay?
Yes.
I don't want the bank to own my car. I don't want the bank to own my house. I don't want the bank to own nothing. Okay? My grandmama and my great grandmama used to tell me, you better go pay cash for that. You don't need no credit card. Okay?
Exactly.
That's the way we were that we
Yeah,
raised that way. You have cash on you.
that's
Okay?
Yes.
right.
They kept cash in around them. They didn't even always put it in the bank either.
Right.
No,
Okay? They
no,
showed them.
They
we
did.
had a cash drawer or a cash mattress,
And a
but you
Yeah.
can.
had to,
Okay, but you
a
didn't.
the can, yeah.
Okay, but you didn't pay credit for everything.
Yeah.
Okay. My grandfather, when he died, he owned 9 units property, owned, and had owned it for years. Okay. Didn't belong to the bank. Nada. Okay. He paid cash for everything he had. Told y'all before, he was a Pullman porter. Okay. So
Yeah.
he took every dime he had. Okay. And he saved his money and he bought the property. He bought the land. When I was a little girl, he told me from early on, you always own your own land.
Yeah.
Okay. Always have your own. And
Well,
has always stuck with me.
there was no credit. There was no
Not
credit
for
at
us.
that time.
Not for us.
No,
Not for us.
I remember when when the American Express card was around. No black people could get no American Express card, and that was the first one that came
Yeah.
out.
That's
We
so
didn't
true.
have no damn credit. If the best thing you could do is pay down on it every week,
Mhm.
but
Right.
hey, you got to give them people cash on the barrel.
Right.
We was paying on life insurance at that time.
Yeah,
That
well,
was our
that's how people wanted to see it, my ship gonna come through. My
yeah,
ship gonna come any day now. They wasn't
right.
talking about no ship docking nowhere. They was talking about somebody's getting ready to die and you was
Uh,
gonna get their insurance money.
life
And that
insurance.
was gonna pay things off.
Or you were
Okay.
going to hit the number.
Hit the number. Well, my uncle ran the numbers. Okay, so like I know
Yeah.
about that
Yeah,
one. Okay.
my uncles were the runners. They knew the
Yeah.
numbers. So
Mhm.
you can hit them numbers and oh God, and then the money's gone. Almost as fast as you
Because we
get.
didn't learn how to be good stewards. We had to
No.
learn how to be good stewards. Like I said, my grandfather showed me he was a good steward of his
Yeah.
money. Okay. He put it
Mm,
into things that he knew was going to be valuable. It was his legacy to pass it down to us.
yeah,
Okay. So that we knew what it felt like to have land that was free, that was
Hmm.
paid for. That was his legacy to us, that we
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about it anymore. So, what is our legacy to those that we're leaving behind? When
Right.
we leave this world, what's the legacy? You know, a car that the bank owns, a house that you still got to pay a
That's
mortgage
this
on.
you still paying on. And
Okay,
if they yeah, if they could afford
credit
a mortgage,
card
they
you
would
got
have
to
have
pay
a house.
up.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. A lot of us
and
don't think about that when we're really making good money, like when we're in our late 20s, 30s, early 40s, when you're into your career. We don't think about that stuff. We think about getting this new car or moving to this other house or whatever.
mhm.
We are getting the clothes. And that's not a judgment on my part because I did it all. So if for the young folks, use your brain. Use your brain. Listen.
They
Put
need it,
that.
but you also need a mentor because
Yes, you do.
this
But you
is this
gotta
inside
listen.
baseball.
You
Yeah, this
gotta
inside
listen to the
baseball.
mentor. That's the
Hmm.
that's the issue.
Yeah,
The,
there's inside baseball, definitely. I think
yeah.
my best investment that I've made in my 20s was getting initiated. That was my
Mhm.
best investment, and I had to make a lot of choices around that nobody really saw the value in it. But
But
I
you
Yeah.
will
did it.
say,
But you did it.
But that'll carry you through to the
yeah,
day you transition back.
yeah,
That
because
And
it's
beyond.
initiation
And
and
hmm
beyond.
beyond. Yes.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was
So
the best investment that I made.
that's a good investment.
Yeah.
That's money in the
Absolutely.
bank. That's money. That's your spiritual currency.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
But yeah, another thing too, sometimes people have that, we used to call it your ears are closed spiritually. Okay.
Mm.
That there, and you have to also talk about conditioning. things that have been conditioned in a person not to hear, that has
Mhm.
taken fact and effect over the years. And when you run into those people, you have to devise means and ways to attack the spirit that is holding their ears hostage.
Mm.
So sometimes you have to devise ways to move certain behaviors out the way. That's why we do, we do Ibori.
Oh,
That's
that's
why
nice.
we do, we have Ile Ori. We're doing work with the ancestors in simultaneously with doing Ibori. Okay, so that you're able to, as you are cleaning and feeding the head and doing prayers, you're also attacking the spirit that is holding that person hostage in not being able to hear. And those
Mm.
are the conditions that has been made upon that person. We have, and that's part of what the work is in Alokum and in Oshun, specifically and Yemonja. Those deities work tremendously with the psychological. They go underneath and start to route out the spirits that are holding that person hostage. Okay, we're in spiritual warfare, and this type of spiritual warfare we have to do both. We have to do ritual. We have to do talk therapy. Okay, from a spiritual component on getting them to see and hear correctly. Because a lot of times you will be saying what I'm saying is black, and they will be saying, no, that's white. Okay. And
Mm.
that's because the spirit that they hear,
Mm.
okay, is
Yeah.
telling them and then they go get an attitude. Why they get an attitude? Because now they feel insecure
Yeah.
about being wrong about what they hear.
Mm.
Okay. And so we have to attack and disengage a ego that is problematic.
Yeah.
Okay. And these are the things that we do as priests of hearing and seeing and working to get those spiritual ears open, spiritual eyes open so that they're able to see beyond what is right in front of their face. We have to
Mhm.
be able to do that. And that's what we're working with so many young, not just young people, we're working with
Yeah.
people,
All
period.
people.
Because
Yeah.
that, because they can't hear you. They can't hear you. Okay. And so you have to devise and design a plan of action that will take them and take that situation to move away from them. Okay. Some of them have like women have occult rooms. Men have a pet, have a yaba orum. So you got spirits that are attached to them that are trying to kill them. Okay. They're trying to kill them and take them back. This is part of the Air Mary syndromes, okay, or spirits that are attacking you, okay. So we have so many different components of that. That's real. Again, our system is a comprehensive, very intuitive metaphysical system designed to help us work in ways that we don't even touch on in a lifetime of how
Mm.
deep the system is and how deep our ancestors were, how profound they were in the healing arts. Okay, and those arts are not lost.
Mm-mm.
It behooves us to get in and do the work. Okay, so that we can pull that energy and pull it off of our people now. Okay, because we're not using just 10% of our brain. Okay, we can use more. We
Yeah.
definitely can use more, and it's not difficult. It's waking it up.
Yeah.
There's medicines that we have in our system that work quite well. Okay. But again, it behooves us to take part of that and to get it in action and see what we can do. Because the people are going to come to you.
Right on.
Mhm.
You know, watch when you all sage the city, how many people we wanted to come up and touch you. Okay.
I be I be acting like Jesus. I felt the power go out from me. Wait, who touched me? Who touched me? Who did that?
Oh, God.
All right, y'all. So here you have it, another stimulating African spirituality conversation. Man, I mean, this was a great conversation. It really was. I hope that people who listened got something out of it because I know I did.
That's right.
I think sometimes that's it's different. You know, looking at things that are unseen but yet is visible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Kind of trip.
Yeah.
So we shall be back on this station, not tomorrow though. Tomorrow we won't be on, but hopefully the next day.
Yeah.
So with that being said, family, we're gonna get up out of here.
Yeah, yeah. Get
Yeah.
on out of here.
Oh, Daro.
Oh, God.
Right on, y'all.
Oh, God.
Y'all wrapping up. All right, here we go. This thing out here. All right, family. See y'all in a couple days.